I'm going to talk today about Shakespeare's Sonnet 116. This is a poem about the constancy of true love. It suggests that love is fixed and eternal, and it's something that will not change even when the object of love changes. It was written by Shakespeare, so it's a Shakespearean sonnet, and it follows the traditional pattern of 3 quatrains of alternating rhyme scheme followed by a final rhyming couplet, and it's written in iambic pentameter. So that regulated rhythm and structure suggests constancy and stability, which is reflected in the ideas about love and the fact that love is something that will not change. Let's just run over exactly what we mean by iambic pentameter. So the iambic rhythm, it's the da-dum rhythm that we have throughout the poem, and the pentameter part tells us that there are 5 of those da-dum beats throughout the line. For example, it is the star to every wandering bark. It is the star to every wandering bark. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. So that's the iambic pentameter meter, or the rhythm that runs throughout the entire poem. It reflects the sort of sound of a heartbeat, so it's often used in sonnets which are all related to love. However, it's not enough just to identify the fact that the poem is written in iambic pentameter. We also need to consider the moments where the poet does not choose to fit his words right into that rhythm. So where does it slightly break the rhythm? Think about where it does not conform to those rules and what that might suggest. So if it's not conforming to the rules, could it suggest an unanswered question? Could it suggest a slight increase in tension or something along those lines? So we have an example of that in the very first line of the poem, where rather than having the da-dum rhythm, we've got a stress on the very first syllable, let me not to the marriage of true minds. So the iambic rhythm there is reversed, and that's known as trochaic substitution. So it places emphasis on that opening line, and there are various reasons why poets might do this. It's not always the same. But here I think it gives a sense that the speaker is delivering a purposeful and important message. It's as if they're coming into the room saying, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. They're delivering a message which is very powerful. And what the speaker is essentially saying there is that nothing can stop love from lasting. We've got that word marriage there, so that's immediately in our minds, and then it's followed by this word impediments, which again is language used in traditional marriage services, perhaps suggesting commitment and constancy. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove, so true love does not change. And we've got examples here of polyptoton, alters, alteration, and remover, remove. And those words suggest that love is constant, so it will not change the same way that appearances do. And looking at another interpretation, we've also got the fact that those mirrored words could suggest a loving couple. It is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. So again, we've got this idea that love is unchanging, love is constant. The tempests or the stormy weather could reflect the difficult times in a relationship. So love doesn't change throughout those difficult times, it's never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark. So love is compared to the pole star, which helps sailors to navigate, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. So although the star's height can be mathematically calculated, its value to the ships that it guides is immeasurable, reflecting the idea that the value of love itself is immeasurable. Love's not time's fool. So here we've got personification of love and time, and that personification makes the battle between those two elements more dramatic. Time itself is compared to death here, or almost sort of the grim reaper. If you look at that word sickle, that's the tool that the grim reaper carries with him. But although time is representing death here, love still wins. So time can take away the rosy lips and cheeks, it can take away beauty and youth, but it cannot take away love. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks. So time here is made to seem quite fleeting. They're brief hours and weeks. They go by very quickly. However, they're also unimportant because that doesn't mean that love changes. No matter how fast time goes by, love remains the same. And it bears it out even to the edge of doom. So love lasts until doomsday or the last day of the world. Love lasts beyond death. And the hyperbole there reflects the power of love once again. And then at the final rhyming couplet we have what's called a volta, or a change in tone. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. So the poet becomes almost quite defensive and challenging here. He's guaranteeing that what he's saying is true. If I'm wrong and I'm proven wrong, then I never wrote any poetry and no man ever loved. So he obviously knows that he has written poetry and that men have loved in the past. So he's giving us a guarantee that what he's saying is the absolute truth.